Hey everyone, so I'm back this week with another topic to discuss, and this week we're going to talk about gaslighting. And no, not the kind of those old school lamps with the gas that, provides light. Although we are shedding light on something super important and something that I think the common person may not understand until you get to understand psychology at a deeper level. And now that I have personally been trained and educated as a life coach and have studied a lot of psychological books and data and references, although I do not claim to be a therapist or psychologist, just want to put that out there. I'm just mindfully bringing awareness to topics that I often help coach my clients through and support them in their journey, often in tandem with their therapists. But gaslighting can be quite a very dangerous thing if we're not aware of it and understand it. And basically, without getting into the weeds, because it's very complex, it's a very deep topic, and I encourage you all to do your own research, read books upon it, listen to podcasts, read some articles on from reputable sources like Psychology Today or other long-standing points of reference that you can use. But to kind of sum it up, it's gaslighting is when someone or a group of people are asking you to question your own reality. It's basically a tactic or a maneuver that creates doubt in one's own thoughts, feelings, and experiences. And it can be really dangerous because over time, whether it happens in an acute sense where it happens over a particular instance or over long periods of time, that slowly it kind of erodes away at your sense of self. When you bring up, for example, a topic on how you feel and you're dismissed, you are shamed or blamed for having that experience, or like literally asked, are you sure that's how that happened? Or maybe shifted to you like, what did you do to create that situation? That is a shame blame cycle. Or, geez, you're having an awfully big reaction to something that I don't feel is important. That too is a way to kind of diminish one's experience and make them question, am I overreacting? Did that really happen in that fashion? Am I crazy? Which is the worst of all. We'd never want to ask ourselves that when we are reflecting upon an experience that was real to us and that had real emotional conflict, real emotional damage that had been done to us. So gaslighting over time, or in an acute sense, it attacks your self-confidence. It crumbles your sense of character and sense of self. It starts to lead to mistrusting yourself. Like, you might have social anxieties over how you present yourself in the world, or what others may think of you if you speak your mind, or am I walking funny, or am I wearing the right outfit, or am I too fat, am I too thin? All the things, that can come into this social anxiety when we are out in the world not knowing how to present ourselves because we have questioned everything about ourselves. It can be psychologically damaging, as you can see, because over time you have no sense of self. And in a way, in its most manipulative form, gaslighters do this to create dependency upon them, whether it be true dependency of resources, like if you make a decision against me, I will withdraw resources, or if it's psychological, where you make a decision outside of what I agree upon and I blame you or shame you or make you feel other or ostracize you for it. It's all a way of saying you're only going to gain my acceptance and my love if you do what serves me or what I tell you to do. And that's really the common theme. I mean, people are selfish beings and we are imperfect people. So this is not to say that we're bringing a hypervigilance to seeing everyone as gaslighters. There's some common themes and cycles of behavior that you want to look out for when you're looking at this in the gaslighting lens. Some people do not feel comfortable expressing their emotions or being told that they may have hurt somebody, but they should never flip it back on you and make you the problem to just cover up the fact that they might be feeling bad about what they may have done to make you feel that way. It's kind of like this endless cycle of flipping things around to make you feel like it's your fault. When you see a repetitive nature of that happening, you probably are dealing with a gaslighter, and there are certain strategies and certain things you need to do to combat that. And this is not to say that everyone's consciously out manipulating and creating this dependency cycle and this whole, questioning of your reality. It can be a subconscious behavior. Some people have such deep-seated pain and are so narcissistic and sick that they will not admit it. And if they're confronted with it, they will get upset, they will get angry, they will judge, they will, again, try to flip it back to you to make you feel like you're the problem. So it's a wounding tactic, right? If, someone's deeply wounded and in need of therapy but refuses to see that, they might flip it back on you if you shine a light onto that. So you need to be careful with how you deal with people in these circumstances. But it doesn't, just because they might be in pain or they might have had experiences that have deeply hurt them, and we can see that, and that's part of what I coach my clients to understand, is that we're lovingly looking at this person or this situation to see it for what it is. No matter how deep, dark, insidious, or even consciously manipulative that person could be, we want to understand the pattern of what happened to them that may have created this cycle and this situation. But even if we do, that doesn't make it any safer to be around this person, right? Because unconscious behaviors are very dangerous. Because if you try to bring it to conscious awareness, you may get hurt in the process. And clearly, we don't want to be any more traumatized in relating to these individuals if we don't have to. So there's other tactics we need to use to understand. We don't go diving in headfirst to expose or to confront or even to have a loving conversation. I mean, sometimes even loving conversations where we can talk things out, personally, professionally, and lovingly, is not accessible to these people. And we have to recognize that and lovingly release the need to create change or to see them heal, because ultimately we all have free will. We all have a choice. We have a choice to look within ourselves, to see how we may or may not have hurt others, to see how we may have been hurt, and to do the right thing to help us heal or process or move through it or find new resources or educate ourselves to become a better person. But ultimately that is up to that person and is not up to us. Our only responsibility is ourselves. So obviously bringing awareness to our own interpersonal relationships to make sure that we aren't maybe inhibiting some of these things onto others is also important. So a couple underlying themes that I've come to understand based on my experience, my research, everything I've dealt with the multitude of clients I've worked with, is it tends to be, or it could be, and this is kind of a defining factor, a mob-like behavior. What I mean by that is somebody might get other people involved, and they might create a false narrative of your character or who you are, or look for behaviors that you might exhibit to inform them of the narrative that they're looking to create for you. That can be very dangerous, because now not only does that person feel that way, but they have vocalized it to other people. And if they are their tribe and they listen and they believe them implicitly without forming their own conscious beliefs based on their relationship with you, well, you ultimately have, more than one gaslighter, right? That person's probably gaslighting all of them and kind of creating this tribe around them that makes you feel like you might be personally attacked by these groups of people. But I don't want you to be scared about that, and I don't want you to feel like you're alone, because you in fact have a tribe too. And that's what I'm going to get to at the end of this conversation here. there's definitely an overarching theme here that as you interact with this person or these people, that you get feelings of discomfort and mistrust. Again, one thing I'm really big on that I coach my clients on is the mind-body connection. It's checking in with how you feel. Because quite frankly, the only thing that matters is how you feel and how people make you feel. Like I said in my other video about setting boundaries, you shouldn't have to set boundaries when somebody makes you feel good. And the worse they make you feel, the stronger that boundary needs to be. So if there's this overarching theme of just, I don't trust this person, they make me feel like I can't trust myself or my reality, they question me, they don't look for clarity. That's also another underlying theme of a gaslighter. They choose to form an opinion, but they will not seek clarity. So if they are misunderstood, they will not come to you and ask, can you please clarify this for me? Or what was the, your intent behind this action? Or what were your thoughts on that? Or, any other thing that might have been misunderstood that needs clarity. They tend to not want to ask. They want to form an opinion and stay comfortable in that opinion, and sometimes even express that opinion to others to help the people who they gaslight also agree with them. Another overarching theme you might see is this shame-blame cycle as it relates to kind of isolating you through shame and blame to keep you from speaking to people who may be able to validate you and love you and support you, or even to have you seek the proper help through therapy or working with a psychologist or a coach or a therapist or what have you. And they might do that by, witnessing one of your transgressions or a mistake or something you may have said or done, and basically blame and shame you for it, tell you that it's a secret, keep it quiet from others because other people feel the same way that they do, that you're wrong, that it's your fault, that you're the bad person, or that you're the crazy person, and that you need to keep that quiet because you don't want to show other people. So that's another form of, gaslighting under the lens of kind of this manipulation and control, which kind of keeps you from speaking up. It keeps you from ever saying anything negative about this person because they hold your secrets, they hold your stuff, and it's almost weaponizing you against you, which again is the common theme here, making you question your own reality, making you not in control of your reality, right? Because this person is going to basically create that reality for you in which you feel kind of stuck in. So you're unable to give voice to what your concerns are, seek the proper help, speak to someone outside of this circle for fear of more shame and blame, or even that, ostracizing, where they might withdraw resources or emotions or acceptance or love or whatever it is, or employment if it's in an employer situation, or a multitude of things that they could use to kind of weaponize against you. So just another tactic that you might run into or see when you're dealing with a true blue gaslighter. And like I said, there's varying degrees of what gaslighting is. There's a lot of literature and research on it, and I do encourage you to form your own opinion, as I always do. Take what resonates with you and leave what doesn't, and obviously seek professional help through a therapist, a coach, or a psychologist, or a combination of them when you feel you may have been gaslit to a degree where you're feeling like you are going to question your own reality to a point where it could be detrimental to your mental health or your life, safety, or security. And so next we'll move into healing and what to do to kind of feel like we can unstick ourselves from the situation and seek the proper help and tune in with ourselves to create that mind-body connection. The first and foremost is to protect yourself. I did a whole topic on setting boundaries, when to do them, how strong to make them, and quite frankly, the worse that someone makes you feel, the stronger the boundary has to be. And if you're feeling like you don't trust your own reality and this person blames or shames you into a cycle of dependency, it's time to set up a boundary. You need to seek a tribe who can help you, people who love you, who can support you, professionals that can help you unhook that, unlock that for you. But you need to protect yourself from these people. Do not share your thoughts, feelings, and emotions with these people, but make sure you go share them. It's important to not stay stuck in silence. That is what hurts the most. We need to express ourselves. We need to process these things in a healthy, loving, non-judgmental way for people, with people who will hold that space for us to do so healthy and safe and in a container that is in your highest and best interest. So protecting yourself, but also seeking the right people who can hold that space for you. Like I said, whether it be professional or personal or a combination of both, but seek those people and hold those boundaries against the ones that are not safest for you. Record or document your experiences when you have them with these people. You need to find as much data as you can to validate your experience. Because if you're dealing with a true blue gaslighter, any and everything you say is going to be used against you. It is going to be flipped into a narrative that best serves and protects their ego or their emotions or whatever they got going on. So you want to record it if possible, or when the conversation's over and you're in a safe place, document your experience. Put down the facts. What was said, how it was said, what transpired, how were you made to feel. Make sure you give your future self that data. Because over time we forget, our mind gets to us. If we've already been conditioned to question our reality, I'm pretty sure after the fact we will wind up questioning our reality. So we want to give ourselves clues as to what happened all the time. Minimize conversation, but when they happen, you document it. Or have a third party there. Bring a companion that you trust. Have a friend or a partner or a loved one listen in on your conversations so they can also validate you. Utilize your tribe to help support you. Make sure that they hear what you hear. So that way, if you're ever led to question yourself in the future, they can help you understand what you heard and help come alongside of you to validate your experience. And that kind of goes along the lines of, find your tribe. Find the people who love you, who accept you, who will hold that space for you non-judgmentally. Even if there's one person in your life, we all have one person. Even if we have to pay for that person's services, like a therapist or a psychologist or a coach, somebody can hold space for you to lovingly process, non-judgmentally process your experiences, your thoughts, feelings, and emotions to help validate you so you can help begin to self-validate for your experiences. So find your tribe. It's often scary if we're isolated or ostracized, that we don't have anyone to turn to. And that's what we don't want. We don't want you to feel alone. We want you to feel like there's people you can go to who will love you and support you, so that way you don't turn back to the people you once felt emotionally or financially or physically reliant on, especially if those are your abusers. You need to go form your own circle of people or isolate, but isolate with the proper tools and people to process so you can become stronger and healed. Practice those boundaries, the mindfulness, the mind-body connection. Reconnect to how people make you feel. When you're in good company and you feel good and loved and heard and validated and filled up, those are the people you want to continue to speak to. Those are the people you want to open up to and talk to. And there's probably varying degrees of openness you can have with individuals. We all have that inner sanctum of people who know everything. And then there's people who know a lot about our life and still lovingly support us. And then there's people on the outside that really just don't have the privilege of learning the details of our life, because if it's not used in a safe manner, it's not meant to happen. So practice the mindfulness of what experiences, people, conversations make you feel good, because ultimately that's all that matters, is surrounding yourself with employment that makes you feel good and in alignment, with family and friends and people that you love who make you feel good, surrounding yourself with jobs and opportunities and experiences that make you feel good. Because when you feel good, you're in alignment and you begin to transcend and become your best self. And that's what we want for you. I, as a coach, want that for all of my clients, and that's what I try to empower them with. So they learn how to do this themselves. They're not relying upon me to grow through this and process. I help them, give them the tools, and they learn it so they can take it with them through life. And then that kind of leads into more of the healing, the processing, doing so in a safe space, like I had mentioned, validation, and also, don't lose hope, even though we don't want to lean on hope, that, everyone does have free will, and that could work in a hopeful and a positive way or in a negative way. Negatively, that person may never change, or that group of people may never change. And unfortunately, we have to release the outcome, release the desire for the optimal outcome. Because if it's not meant for us to happen, if it's not meant for that person to figure it out and to find healing and come back with a constructive relationship, then, there's nothing we can do to control that, right? We can only control ourselves. We can only control how we think and feel and what our experiences are. And forgiveness, alongside of that, forgiveness is not to forgive what had happened but it's to release what had happened. So it doesn't have power over you anymore. So it doesn't control your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors, your emotions. Forgiveness is a release for you. It's not for your transgressor or transgressors. So working towards forgiveness, even if it starts with a small bit of forgiveness, and over time we can accumulate a larger release of forgiveness. But seeing them for their pains and what they've been through and how they've reacted to others is part of the awareness we bring to cultivating that forgiveness and that release. And just knowing what doesn't serve us and have enough self-love and respect to make sure we hold those boundaries and invite in people to our circle who best serve us. So in a nutshell, that is gaslighting. I encourage you, like I've said before, to find more resources, do your research, check in with yourself, become mindful of your relationships. And if you feel called to working with a coach like myself, feel free to schedule a 30-minute discovery call where we can get to know each other, get to know your situation, see if we're a good fit. I'm always happy and welcome to working with you either in a private or group setting. And until next topic, I wish you the best. Take care.